Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening. Whatever time of day it is where you are when you hear this message, I pray that your life is flourishing, abounds with beauty and happiness, that your environment is inspiring and fulfilling your deepest desires, that your loved ones are in good condition, and that as a result of all those good things, your mind, body, and spirit are open and receptive to hearing a few words of wisdom. Ashe. This is the Orisha Lifestyle Academy, and I'm your instructor, Obafemi Origuwa. And today I want to share a lesson about the difference between people who have a lot of potential and people who have a lot of raw talent. All right. And really, more precisely, I'm thinking about the ways in which people who have a lot of potential experience life and the way that people who have a lot of raw talent experience life. Um, and perhaps my greatest example of this kind of an experience comes out of the life of Iron Mike Tyson. Mike Tyson is clearly blessed with a lot of raw talent, right? It- Mike Tyson has talent, talent, and you can see it if you have the privilege of going back and watching Mike Tyson fight as a young boy in his teens. You can see he's got a lot of talent. Okay, um, it's not just potential. You see people who have capabilities, right? But you know that there's a lot that needs to be cultivated and a lot of things that need to be staged in order for those capabilities to come to the surface and really be honed. In the case of someone like Mike Tyson, nah, he's there. You can see it. He's there. And let me tell you what I mean. As a teacher for many years now, ever so often, after let's say you're teaching art for 15, 20 years, you know what a 9-year old uh, hand-eye coordination looks like, right? And you can get drawings, the best drawings of 9-year olds over 15, 20 years, and one or two will really stand out, right? Say for a 9-year old, this is exceptional. This is exceptional. This person um, really has a talent. This is nothing that has been taught. This person just on his own or on her own is shining brightly. And then you get others that show real potential. That if this person puts in extra time, if this person gets some tutoring or some extra training, you know that they have the capacity to do really well, right? But they're not what you would consider a freak of nature, right? Mike Tyson is that kind of a person that you would look and immediately, if you have any experience in that field, you can say, no, this guy is a freak of nature, right? And I like Mike Tyson as an example because when you have that kind of raw talent, let me tell you what happens. It's evident to anybody who has experience in that field. And so at an early age, talent scouts, coaches, headhunters are going to identify people with raw talent and they're going to seek them out and they're going to get next to that person. They're going to get next to their parents. They're going to say, listen, your child has an extraordinary talent. Let me help him or her cultivate it. So what happens? These people end up getting the best coaching at an early age or at early stages of their development. So that by the time they become Olympians, by the time they become valedictorians, by the time they become NBA superstars, they have had years and years and years of coaching. And let me tell you what that does. When you get that much experience with someone coaching you and honing you and helping you to cultivate your talent, you learn to trust the process, and you understand what the value of a teacher is. You start to understand the value of a coach. And you realize, even though I, Mike Tyson, am the one who's going to get into the arena, I'm the one who's going to take the blows, I'm the one who's going to duck and counter punch. It's because of my coach's instruction that I'm going to be able to do that very well. So, in trusting the process, you learn to relinquish control. You realize this person sees things and understands things that I don't see and I don't understand, because I am on the floor, I am in the arena, I am in the ring. So I have to relinquish control to the extent that it allows me to take advantage of this person's perspective and expertise. So people who have raw talent tend to get the best coaching at an early stage of their development, and they cultivate a healthy understanding of when it is necessary to relinquish control and allow themselves to be taught, to be directed, to be told what to do and what not to do. Now, for people who have more potential than raw talent, right? You're not as talented as Mike Tyson. Well, you know what? You're probably going to attract equally lesser talented teachers, right? Because we know that Mike Tyson's teacher, his coach of all coaches, was Cus D'Amato. But if you follow it, the story, Cus D'Amato brought Mike Tyson into his home, integrated him into his family. You can't do that over and over and over again. So it's a miracle kind of a thing. It's magic how fate will bring two people together in the same space at the same time and enable these things to take place. The raw talent to meet expert coaching and produce someone the likes of Mike Tyson. It's a very special thing. But under other circumstances, what happens is, if you aren't that talented, right, you're going to attract people who are less gifted as coaches. You're going to attract less gifted teachers. And the less gifted coaches and teachers are not going to go that extra mile. They're not going to do that extra work to cultivate your raw talent, right? And so the further down you are on the talent level, the lower level teachers you're going to get. Okay? That's important for you to understand within yourself. Not everybody is a freak of nature in any field. And when we look at spiritual acuity, spiritual potential, spiritual capabilities, you got to understand you are probably not a freak of nature. You are probably not the Mike Tyson of mediums, or the Mike Tyson of diviners, or the Mike Tyson of ritual specialists. You're probably not. Because if you were, the best teachers would have found you by now. And they would have recruited you, and they would have brought you in, and they would be developing you. All right. Now, this is a bit of a sting to the ego. It can be a little bit of sting to the vanity, right? Your sense of, specialness. And it, what I'm saying doesn't diminish your unique contribution. It doesn't diminish your special attributes, but you do need to put them into proper perspective. Because otherwise, what you will do is you will imagine yourself to be something greater than what you are, and you won't respond to instruction the way you ought to. So this is what I see. far too often. People of average potential, average to slightly above average potential. Maybe you hear some voices here and there. Maybe you have some dreams here and there. Maybe you get some kind of intuitive insight here and there. And sometimes it's very accurate, but most times it's not reliable. You can't bank on it, right? But because you know that it is a real thing, it's a real occurrence, and what you are experiencing is slightly higher than the average person, you believe yourself to be the Mike Tyson of spiritual gifts. So when you get to the position where you actually come in contact with a teacher, with a coach, you're spending so much time trying to control the experience that you don't open yourself to instruction. You don't trust the process. Instead, you try to control the process, right? And that won't work. Imagine Mike Tyson trying to control his own coaching. Mike Tyson is in the fight, and he has his coaches and his trainers who are outside the fight, and they're looking and saying, Mike, you're dropping your left, you're dropping your left, you're dropping your left. But Mike refuses to listen because he knows what's going on better than anybody because he's in the fight. And next thing you know, Mike is taking a 500-pound pressure blow to the side of his head. And that is what happens over and over and over. I see it with people who think they know, who think they have all this ability because they have a little bit of potential, but they refuse to take instruction year after year after year. Okay? So the challenge for people who have a bit of potential, slightly more than average potential in spiritual matters, what you have to do is you have to also, if you want to advance, let me put it that way, if you really want to progress, you got to subject yourself to the process. You got to do what Mike Tyson has done, which is be coached. And if you really want to be coached by the best, you actually have to work extra hard to position yourself as a worthy student, right? Because I myself, if I have one all-star student, well, that is the person who I'm going to make extra time for. That's the person who I'm going to dedicate extra effort and energy to develop. Why would I compromise my time and my energy on someone who I know has raw talent and someone who is open to being coached? Why would I compromise that to work with someone who has lesser talent and is more resistant to coaching? It doesn't make sense. So if you find yourself, if you're honest enough with yourself about how much potential you have and how much raw talent you have, and you're honest with yourself concerning how far you really truly want to go, how deeply you want to develop your potential, then you will work extra hard to be a better student, right? You will do what Mike Tyson has done. As I said, you will subject yourself to the coaching process. You will open yourself to being instructed. You will relinquish control with the understanding that the best coaches are going to give you the best advice and the best technique for you to be able to go out and do what you do. Right? Now, I know that for a lot of people, particularly people who are of a mediocre to just a little bit, better than average potential, because you probably have had less than stellar instruction, you're going to fall back on the trust factor. You can't trust this person. You can't trust that person. Well, You're going to have to learn to trust yourself. You're going to have to learn to trust your destiny if you really want to improve. And you're going to have to find a way to identify, like I said, the best teachers. I'm not talking about gravitating towards just average people. I'm talking about you've got to find the people who are about development, people who are creating excellent products. They produce high performing students. You've got to gravitate toward those people, and you've got to show yourself worthy. You've got to show yourself worthy by doing what the great ones do. Right? Now it's a double burden. It's a double burden because on the one hand you have less raw talent. Number one, and number two, you are less accustomed to coaching and being told what to do. So you got to work within yourself to be okay with being coached and being directed, and you've got to compensate for having less than, exceptional or extraordinary raw talent. Okay? Now I'm telling you this in this way because I want it to be clear. I want you to understand. And I want to give you a real opportunity to accomplish what you see within your mind's eye. Because you have a vision and you do believe and know that you can achieve something great in the world of spiritual practices, in Orisha lifestyle in particular. You do believe that you can make a meaningful contribution to this tradition, to your life, to the lives of the people who you're destined to serve. You feel it and you want to make that contribution. You want to achieve legendary status. You want to. You feel that somehow that's a part of your destiny. This is what it's going to take. I want you to be realistic and practical about making that contribution, about accomplishing that level of success and expertise. If you're willing to overcome your own vanity, if you're willing to overcome the ego image that you may have projected of yourself of being some great spiritualist, right? To really appreciate and recognize and evaluate what your actual level of potential is and talent. If you're willing to overcome that and be realistic about that, you're going to be able to seek out the kind of support that you need, and you're going to be able to submit yourself to the process. And if you're also willing to do those things, you're also going to do the work, right? That will allow you to improve, because hard work will supersede raw talent. It will. Hard work will supersede raw talent. You can prepare yourself and create a level of discipline within yourself that will allow you to overcome even people who have raw talent and excellent coaching. You can learn, you can develop, you can grow, you can get better and better and better if you're willing to. But that, again, that's going to require that you're constantly open to somebody telling you what to do and what not to do. Your vanity can't get in the way. Your feelings can't get hurt every time somebody tells you that you're not hitting the mark. That isn't good enough. You can't get discouraged by hearing those words. Not discouraged enough for you to throw in the towel and quit. You got to be willing to hear those words, take that sting, and go back to the drawing board and say, what do I need to do? What adjustments do I need to make? If you're willing to do that, you can accomplish great things. You can transcend your potential. You can transcend your level of talent. and you can accomplish legendary things. You can make a meaningful contribution to your life and the lives of those who you're destined to serve. And so I'll leave you with that. And I hope and pray that this message has received you well. You may have to listen to it twice. You may have to listen to it 3 times. But whatever it takes, I hope that you will receive the message with the intent that it is delivered, and that you will find it within yourself to make the kinds of decisions that are necessary to take your life and your practice to the next level. Now, I am always looking for leaders who are determined to improve the world through positive change. If that is you, if you believe that you are one of those persons, I want you to visit obafemio.com or orishalifestyle.com and explore the ways in which my work and my training programs can take your life and your practice to the next level. Bye for now. Odabo.